We know that most of us are thinking from the dogmatic principles that were taught to us in what we've been calling religion, which is really counterfeit. Right. And it was just like the fiat is counterfeit, the belief systems are counterfeit. Yes. It doesn't mean they don't have truth in them. Nevertheless, they're counterfeit. Mm-hmm. And if you approach any of them absent of this consciousness, you've got dogma. Right. And dogma is counterfeit religion. Just like the fiat is counterfeit, posing as money. It's not counterfeit money, that's not oxymoron. Right. It's counterfeit posing as money. Mm-hmm. Dogma is counterfeit posing as religion. Right. You see? Administrators are counterfeit posing as Article 3 judges. Right. You see? Mm-hmm. Color of law is counterfeit jurisprudence, or counterfeit de jure. Mm-hmm. You see? And so these fundamentals, when you're conscious of them without necessarily burning your head having to think this out, you understand the conversations when you're having with them. You understand how they construct instruments, why they're constructed the way they're constructed. Mm-hmm. You see? And why the arrogance that resides with them until they discover that you already know the game, then they get a little upset and get nervous. Right. Closing the courts down and doing all kind of other lunchbox stuff. Do you understand? Yes. But that's what you need for them to be doing when they're meeting with you. Mm-hmm. And the other deal is they need to know when they're dealing with you that the truth is coming. Mm-hmm. You see? Mm-hmm. So while they're coming with their sort of like tangible sword, you're supposed to be coming with your abstract sword before you became in that courtroom. Exactly. You understand what I'm saying to you? Mm-hmm. And so, like I was calling Star earlier, right? Whatever it is your intent to present to those tribunals should be already produced in written form before you even enter, that all your arguments would be expressed in documented paper, mm-hmm. with you playing laryngitis. Right. Say, look at Exhibit 1. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then make sure you CC it, mm-hmm. so it's outside of their venue. Yeah, exactly. So they can't bury it, because they're going to bury it. Because their whole thing is burying it. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Their whole thing is illusion. Mm-hmm. You see? And see, so this is why you always have the protocols of CCing everything. Why? Because your job is to put everything into the light. Their job is to put everything into the dark. Understand that. Knowing that, you don't get upset. I mean, they can piss you off a little bit. Right. But you don't get surprised when they do lunchbox stuff with you. Right. Just Happy the Clown does Happy the Clown stuff. You know, and so when you're saying, hey man, you coming to the prom with them big yellow sneaks, man. Yeah, that's how he rolls. Right. You know, it can be irritating, but you know, intellectually. Yeah. You don't really let it get to you. Don't let it knock you off. Right. You know, stay focused. Yes. Because this is what you're fighting. Mm-hmm. Because they're imposters. Mm-hmm. Our problem is when we start thinking they're legitimate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. However, you speak to them as if they're legitimate. Mm-hmm. With the flavor of revealing their impostorship within your documents at the same time. Mm-hmm. Since they claim the office, hold them to it. Mm-hmm. That's why any communications you have with them is always proceed with a quo warranto. Yes. As a standard. Yes. A standard. Mm-hmm. Not maybe, not, you know, in this particular case, the only time you wouldn't do a quo warranto, if it was a situation where you're the plaintiff and you're moving on now. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Mm-hmm. That's the only time you wouldn't necessarily do it. And not because you have any ill intent, because they're playing. So if they want to play, hey, here's the chess moves. It's gone.
if you're moving on them, their jurisdiction is allowable because you're using their jurisdiction against them. So
Exactly.
they have jurisdiction over it. And you have jurisdiction over them to have them do their administrative duties towards their underlings.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, why? And what's the point? What is the basis of authority that you're invoking it?
Constitution.
I'm invoking my status as an Aboriginal under treaty and constitution.
Not the Aboriginal. Aboriginals is a classification. President is a classification, right? What president? Aboriginal is a classification. What Aboriginal?
Aboriginal to the land of election.
I know it's about the land.
That's why I'm an Aboriginal.
No. All right. So the president to the land of what? You ain't named the president yet, therefore you can't go back to the common law. You see the point? See, what is the power of invoking, and we have to remind people of this a lot of times, and this is one of the things that's causing a lot of the European, what you call freedom groups and sovereignty so-called groups trouble. Over years, say 25, 30 years ago, they do the HMOs, and then they came to just standard operation of UCCs and site drafts and stuff like that. Then they came to Christians, white Christian sovereign, and then they become American sovereign. Now they talk about state national. It's because the sovereign right resides in the nationality. All entities have the nationality of their creators. And in order to call the sovereign power of any particular nation, you must name the nation. Because that's your argument to invoke the customs and the treaties by which the common law trumps the Roman law and the legislative law and all other types of statutory stuff. Therefore, it still goes back to pedigree. It is not assumed just because you say common law. Therefore, without a nationality, you're a stateless person. You ain't flying in colors. They're going to claim your abandoned ship. Watch out. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And so, just like when we show you a picture, you know, and they're pissed off with Obama, they ain't accidentally why, you know, he getting that picture taken, and they just happen to be passing a Moorish flag in the back, and Hillary happened to be speaking with them Moorish flags behind her. As of late, it's not accidental. Hillary's DAR. Obama's a master mason and a constitutional lawyer. They ain't out to lunch. They know what time it is. The problem is, collectively, as our people, we're the ones that don't know what time it is. And we got to be brought up to snuff, because we're the heirs. And we're still looking for someone to do programs when the time is for us to step up to responsibility. It's not program time no more.
No, they even used the Treaty of Peace and Friendship to invade Iraq.
Exactly.
Anywhere we had a domicile, they went.
Yeah.
You know, they can go, according to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship.
See, but they're doing things in our name. You see? Because we keep claiming to be black.
Yep.
And so that makes us Christian property. So therefore, they're doing with our estate what they please to do until we honor our mothers and fathers and act like we know, which it seems to be difficult for us to, even after being presented with the facts, to be willing to be who we are. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? We keep trying to bounce around it. You understand? Knowing it, but trying, well, we're Aboriginal. No, you're more.
That's right.
Well, we are Aboriginal.
That is a classification. That's not to be confused with identity.
That's right, that's right.
The invocation comes by virtue of identity. The consideration for an analysis of jurisdiction can come through Aboriginal. Do you understand? But the specification for authority comes from the bloodline. God named the nation. It's like saying, you paid your rice tax? For what nation state you talking about? The Russian rice tax? Chinese rice tax?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
And so, the point that I'm making is, treaty of peace and friendship. The point that I'm making is, just by virtue of just common sense, right? And this is the power that you're using, right? And you know it, but I'm just reminding you, because what you said is really not incorrect. It's and not weak either, but weakened. You understand what I'm saying? Unnecessarily weakened. Article 6, Constitution for the United States of North America. Do you happen to have the bylaws that's going to
Oh.
the 14 points with you?
You mean the constitutional bylaws and then the additional laws?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, gosh, do I have them with me? That's funny.
Yeah.
I did it at Christ Wednesday in New York.
You did?
Oh, yeah, it was good.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, now, divine constitutional bylaws, Moorish Holy Temple
The
Science.
additional laws
Yeah.
are in the 101, which I have. But now we're looking at the original
Yeah.
divine constitutional
Yeah.
bylaws, of which I do believe I have a copy there.
All right. Technical skills, technically speaking. Now keep this in mind, and keep in mind that everybody, since anybody in what you call serious positions of power here, any serious position of power, that means any of your big time industrialists, any of your big time preachers, and all politicians must be Masons. Not maybe, must be. All right? So, understanding that, you don't have to argue that, but you should understand that. However they may use the knowledge positively or negatively is another argument. Where's the rubber band?
I don't get it.
We'll get it back.
Don't worry about
Check
it.
the position of the
Carry
movement.
on, carry on.
Anyway,
Shift to the right.
I didn't touch it.
I don't know why.
oh no, this is not what we passed out the 14. We did what we did. We put the divine constitutional bylaws and the additional bylaws on one sheet for study purposes. And she passed them out. They did that in Harlem.
Oh, my goodness.
But we were talking about that earlier, mainly because when we were doing a couple of radio shows, one of the things that we're doing, we're going over some of the principles of what's on the nationality card, and we were also going through parts of the law in order that some of the people across the country and outside the country who are listening, because they're listening from Africa too, would have a proper concept on how to look at the divine constitutional bylaws. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because for the most part, they've been misrepresented by some people call themselves sheiks and cause a lot of schisms within the movement. So as people come in, we want to make sure that no matter what they do, no matter where they go, their foundations are solid. And so we went over that. Now, back to common sense. You find anything?
You know what? What I knew that I had, I could have
All right.
took it up. Does anybody here have the divine constitutional bylaws though?
Because I emptied most of my bag. I'm emptying most of my bag, so I didn't bring it with me. But anyway, let me read
Do you not have
this.
them in one of the books though? The original, don't you have the administrative functions?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll get it for you. Take the 101 right here. See 101? That's the additional laws in the back of 101, and then there's like administrative functions, and now you got the two. All right? All right.
I'm gonna look for some, but I can look for you.
Now, these are, now, I'll keep in mind, and as you already know, hold on. Now, as you already know, it is divine constitution and bylaws, right? So keep this in mind. Take notes so you can keep this in mind. Remember this. In divine constitution and bylaws, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of the said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national names to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained over Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Now that's Article 6, that's Act 6 of the Divine Constitutional Bylaws, right? Now we're going to go to Article 6 of the Constitution for the United States, right? Keep this in mind. Article 6 of the Constitution for the United States of North America. All debts, contracted, and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. And this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. The senators and the representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office of public trust under the United States. Do you recognize the political correlations? Now, what is debts and contracted engagements entered into before the adoption of the Constitution? It's the treaty.
Right.
Keep in mind, treaty 1786, 1787. Ordinance, Northwest Territories, Ordinance 1787. Right? The Articles, etc. 1787, 1788. The adoption of the Constitution, finalization, 1789. This is the binding law. Now, that's what binds you, and that's how you are what? A party to that Constitution. Because without your Moorish nationality, you can't make any claims against the obligations of the United States. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And so it's not aboriginal status, it's your Moorish status. Do you understand? You're aboriginal to the land, it's an issue, true. But it's your legal status and standing that trumps everything else they can throw at you. And if you waive that, your argument becomes plausible. Because the ultimate claim is that the heir must be claimed. Why? Because every instrument that they have in the United States are liens against an estate.
Right.
What estate? The Moroccan estate.
Right.
The estate of the descendants of the ancient Moabites. Why do you think they got to take a blood debt of oath to keep them secrets?
Right.
Who do you think Ruth the Moabitess is? You run around talking about Aboriginal? Yeah, well, yes, but you got a name. President. What president? Well, the janitor. Go see the janitor. What janitor?
Right.
Well, go, the car's out there in the parking lot. Here's the keys. You're at the mall, right? Here's the keys, see you later. What car? Where? It's in the lot. You understand where I'm coming from? So, and it comes back to the principle that all law is specific. And since the matters we're dealing with are so serious, you understand? And whereas we're trying to secure our rights, to them, this is political death. Their view of this is bigger than most of how we're looking at it with our individual injury. You know, these suckers that took my sneaks.
Yeah.
I knew these suckers didn't fit. Save my stuff. You know, and they're looking at,
We'll cut a little deeper.
you're waking up. You're heir. They're looking at you as heir in this entire estate, and we're looking at, man, they even put a ticket on my car. Them suckers. They're unfair. You know what I mean? And that's how we're looking at it, because it's affecting us personally with them shooting these situations. But they're looking at when you become conscious and you start doing anything, particularly if you put your pen to it, and it locks them out of a capacity of monetizing your signature against your own estate.
Right.
This means somebody got to get fired. It does.
Yes.
And so they're playing bad. You can't do it like this. But really, they're blowing wind, but they're serious. You understand? So they gotta like,
Hey,
you can't do this. You can't sign like that.
Wizard of Oz.
be white man.
And then you're going,
You know what I mean?
you either go, yes I can, or you, I can't. You know.
You gotta say, yes, I can. Better say, yes, I can.
When you know what's up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And those are the subtleties.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, the more you understand about what this really is, the more confidence you have because you know that you're right.
Right.
But when they smell that you're unsure,
Oh, yeah. You're done.
they're like African painted dogs. They start yipping and start picking at you.
And knowing your way.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you be saying, man, ow! You know, no! Really? Man, you know, maybe I need to make my papers good as my dad. It's kind of the spirit that you come out with this.
Right.
Yeah.
And the better that you know what they're using against you, it's easier to battle back because you already know where they're coming from. They're operating from the perspective that you know no secrets. Right?
Yes.
And then they figure if you're one of their club members, you ain't gonna tell anyway. So you're
Right.
stuck that way. But being Moorish Americans is your birthright. You ain't bound to no bond.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, sir.
This is your inheritance. So what do? Fly your colors. What's up? Told the Pope, leave them boys alone. You can't talk to the Pope like that. He said, can't. I mean, right. Not that you try to insult him, but you know, he's talking trash. I mean, you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, sir.
They're public servants. Treat them accordingly. It's not.
Just adding on, because you mentioned the Pope, and I just wanted to add this in briefly. In the book, J.A. Rogers, Nature Knows No Color Line, Sex and Race, Volume 1.
Yeah.
The Red Book, they have a Catholic Pope, and he had Moroccan blood flowing through his bloodline.
Yeah.
And it was making note how, at the times, you know, the popes was actually treating Moors like royalty. I don't know.
Because we are the royalty.
You know, you take that blanket statement how you want, but I'm just throwing that in since
Yes.
you mentioned the Pope.
And you're right.
You know what I'm
Now,
saying?
if in harmony with what you're saying, if you look at the construction of the first order of the Nicene councils, etc., it is clearly in the adoption of the Krishna degrees that the Christians made those extensions of honors for liberties of all men. What they have been operating on is absolutely even contradictory to their own first order. That's why it's also important to have a knowledge of history, so you can hold them to their own principle. This is why when you see Bey said, when they violate or ignore your Zodiac Constitution, they're in violation of their own Magna Carta Code.
Exactly.
See, and when you know history, you know why those things, it's important for you to know not that those things are said, why is it that they were said? You see?
Yes.
Which is in harmony with what you just said. But see, so that principle should be a common knowledge. It should not be, I mean, it's good because we're here learning, all of us are learning. So it's good for those interjections. But those interjections should be part of the common spread of knowledge. You know, it's sort of like we wouldn't be saying, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And then somebody says, H-I. You say, yeah, H-I. We don't need to be going through that.
Right.
However, right now it's fine.
Right.
But we need to get beyond that so that we can be capable of competing with those who've been comfortable sitting in your seat,
Right.
writing books. They ain't sitting around talking about, now let's pray and say, A, B, C, E, F, G. And you know, they start doing that, they have people get up because they don't expect them to act like lunchboxes. They expect them to act from kindergartners and first graders, but not from adults. And if you have to go there as an adult, it's cool, but you're incompetent.
Right.
And so we must respect that that's how the world views us right now in the black state. You understand? We are considered incompetent. Why? Because we're not black.
Right.
Then we try to exercise human rights when black is a monkey. Ain't got nothing to do with the human family. And from a status perspective, it's unconscious. And from an etymological observation, it means pale. You know, so such persons who keep claiming that, logically, are either imbeciles, adults who are really boys and girls, dummies, or whatever you might want to call them, thus they're dead in the eyes of law. You see the point of civil liberal mortuus?
The legal word is idiot.
That's a goodie. That's a goodie. And then, of course, when they say it, then we get insulted when we want to jump back, you know. Yes. Then they come out with the guns, then everybody go like this. March and Mar. We'll get together and start a protest. Then somebody say, I think they got some tear gas. Well, let's go down to the corner store to the people that ain't messing with us and protest in front of that store. That's what we do. That's what we do. Everybody knows that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's dog bitches, you go jump on the neighbor's porch on the other side of the street, kick their cat. Talk about it.
Yeah, they always messing with us.
You know, that's why they, you know, when cops beat them up down the street, they come down to your neighborhood, burn the stores up. That's how we work it. It's true.
It's true.
But anyway, so keep in mind the relationship, and I think that's a real poignant degree that we need to keep in mind is that, because of course, as you know, when these different corporate state magistrates, everything start feeling the heat, they start telling people they can't invoke the Constitution because they're not parties to it. You understand? This is why you see a lot of the Europeans are starting to nationalize and denounce their U.S. citizenship. You know, because it ain't worked for them.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that certain things ain't slipped through, you know, but just for the point of having people keep faith in the system. You know, they can't have them not have any faith in the system. So they'll let a few slip through with the UCCs or something like that, those who know how to navigate a little bit, but not on any massive scale. They just take in the finance and people keep filing stuff and then keep spinning them around in a circle. If you understand what I'm saying? You know, because if you're smart, you pull out your aces. And we have them, and we have a tendency not to want to use them. We keep trying to, and it's not wrong to keep trying to use subordinated systems to achieve what can actually only be achieved through here. Do you understand?
Yes.
And so the issue is, what is it? And so we always got to think like this, you all. And I know that you all got this.
Yes.
Yes, bro.
And I've said it, I'm going to write it so that you don't, hopefully that you don't forget it, so that you can keep this in mind while you're doing. added that last part so that you can understand the concept. See? So for you to be able to talk about this and this, right? Because remember, the modern civil laws are derived from those ancient customs and traditions. Therefore, upon a challenge, you must be able to demonstrate some of them customs and traditions. Starting with what? A knowledge of the foundation of those customs and traditions that are the foundation of law. Being what? 12 signs of the zodiac, the number 0 to 9, 26th letter of the alphabet, etc. Code of mathematics, which is your customs and traditions. Thus, the zodiac constitution trumps this stuff, as expressed in the divine principles of the unilateral or the universal declaration of independence with nature's laws and nature's God. Now, what are nature's laws and nature's God? Zodiac constitution. That's ancient customs and traditions. Therefore, if you're going to talk about the common law and don't know this, does the common law trump their legislature? Nope, it don't. See what got the Europeans in trouble?
Well, see, the common law and our sovereignty,
Yeah, really.
and our U.S. democracy,
Oh, yeah, really. They're totally off the page. You see the point? It's known but not spoken, is it? So being Moorish American, you're supposed to know that already. You're going to talk trash, you're going to set that magi in place. Understand he's a Mason. He already knows this. He's been living off you because you didn't know it. And so he claimed jurisdiction because what? You weren't practicing it. So he's taking your own stuff and beating you up with it. And when you don't recognize it, it indicates again that you don't know it. Well, see, the common law says, well, man, how come he didn't recognize me? You didn't recognize yourself. You see? And this is even back to the point where when people get this knowledge and they start talking sovereignty loosely, well, it's cool, but nationality, if you say nationality, the sovereignty goes with it. But also, if you say nationality, you're saying the common law. And you saying nationality, you're already saying the treaty. And if you didn't know that, and you ain't invoked that, then you waive it, don't you? You see those subtleties?
Yes.
And so your customs and principles go back to antiquity. It trumps all this. But if you don't declare your Moorish nationality, those traditions and customs don't apply, nor does the common law. Now you come on to programs. See the necessity of the 14th Amendment for such persons? They're called persons of color, O-U-R. And they have color of law for them. And it comes under bottomry, doesn't it? You see? So, and the point that I'm making is just because people are aware of those instruments and how they're used does not constitute the capacity of them stepping out from under that status. That's why it tells you in status that, you know, it can't be, you know, how do you say, it can't be eliminated just by the mere will of the party. Because status also applies to what? Estate. One's capacity or incapacity in determination relative to his property. And so people talk about, yeah, I did the UCCs and I own this side. No. I'm a surgeon. Look at my butter knives, they're shiny. No. I'm getting in the race. I'm going to beat Lance Armstrong and all the rest of them. that tricycle? I don't think so. You know. And this is sort of like how they're looking at us while we're talking trash, and we get some of the information, you know, from a sovereignty perspective without really understanding that the sovereignty is a conjunction with the nationality. And it's not incorrect, but it's kind of naive when you go around and talk about sovereignty when you just will be talking the bloodline and the sovereignty comes with it. You understand what I'm saying, Gene? It's like running around boasting, man, I can blow, you know, because like when just give me a horn, man, and you know, like John Coltrane. I mean, when I roll, right up to somebody say, well, oh, excuse me, I got a trunk, right there, you start talking, yeah, right now I got laryngitis, don't even go there.
That's funny.
You just be who you are.
Leave it alone.
Even then they're gonna play you. But at least when they play you, you real. You understand? And your capacity to come out of this thing, out of that belly of that whale, you understand? Because you got these pins, you know, bellies, whale swallowing your stomach. You gotta take a toothpick out your mouth. You just start doing all this stuff and he spit you out. You know? Or Baptist councils on the way down, you know? I mean, because the words are power. And once you understand what's up, you just start teaching people around you. See, but you don't teach with emotion. You don't teach with hate. Man, these suckers, they're racist, ain't they? And everybody goes, yeah, they're racist. Now his feelings is hurt, right? Not really. You know, we charge them with piracy, human trafficking, and post it up for the world to see, and all of a sudden, things start moving. Why? Because travelers and Wells Fargo are going to be calling the city commissioners raising their bonds, even without this stuff being litigated. Once their names start showing up before the entities. But what do people have a tendency to do? Well, you see, the state of New Jersey did this, state of New Jersey didn't do anything, can't speak. And I got this letter from the state of New Jersey. No, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't, you lying. Look at it right here, the state of New Jersey. The state of New Jersey can't write. Right. Is there a signature on there? No. Well, that paper's dead. And if you're going to write back to them, find out whoever wrote it, or if you can't find whoever wrote it, put the Christie's name on it, because he's the CEO of this thing. And he did it to you. So, Christie, profiting and racketeering through the foreign corporate state of New Jersey did this to me. Now you've changed the whole argument. Now they can't hide. See, the deal is to pull them from behind their entities. Yeah. Never accuse the entity without naming a natural person. So your duty is to go find a natural person, right? Anybody in the line, or all of them if you feel like it. From the one who first approached you right on up to the CEO, the COO. Their names, and that's what you're talking about. Fred Bosnatzel-Dinkle, posing as a police officer, and then you put officer in brackets because that's plausible, because he's not an officer, right? And then you're going to charge him with impersonation. And then when they don't produce their quo warranto and don't answer, give them 7 days. You can give them 3 if you want to, because they were supposed to already have it. You understand what I'm saying to you? Then you put their name up, posing as officer, impersonation, and you charge them with federal racketeering, RICO Act, and everything else. Don't even wait around. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. And logically, they're not going to like post this stuff, but you're supposed to post it, because if you're a nation state, you're supposed to be organized, at least to the minimal degree, operating in your own capacity as far as governmental structure. You understand what I'm saying to you? So you're supposed to maintain a newspaper, at least. And you're supposed to be publishing your own stuff. You already know if you follow them, they ain't going to publish it, because that's like you tell them, you know, I think the news looks better on the left. No, turn on the right. Yeah, you ain't going to do it. You know, man, I paid all this finance and they didn't even file my stuff. That's because you volunteered and gave them a gift. Then you know they ain't really who they say they are? Yeah, but you know they're supposedly the government. They're not government. They're just racketeers. Playing as government, you're the government, remember? The republic? You see these subtleties, and so you hold them to what their claim is, and hold them to the law and to the letter, while knowing that they're not, since they say they are. But also include within your writs and affidavits such information that establishes for the record their obligation to the office that they claim, including the quo warranto that by law commands that they produce it. And of course, at that point, it makes them suable. And you don't say the state of New Jersey, you don't say, you know, city of Maryland, the city of Wilmington, or start talking about, you name somebody operating through that entity. You pull them out from behind the mask, put their name first, then the entity, and then you attach the entity to them. Now, if it goes to a higher court, now they're suable, because if you get to a high court, they'll tell you, we only deal with natural persons, we don't deal with entities. That's right. This is another reason why a lot of people, find not the successes that they want when they do, because they keep on saying, hey, the state of New Jersey took my sneaks, and then they booted my car. And you make all the art, everything's correct. The state of New Jersey ain't did nothing. That's right. And you just let them off the hook. Of course, that's part of the training. That's part of the training, and we get used to that. So get used to whenever you're doing any of your writs or any of your claims or any of your suits, always name a natural person. Don't ever name entities by themselves. I don't care how redundant it gets. All right? Name a natural person, and then say they're profiter, beneficiary, operating through, and then name the corporate entity. And always say the foreign corporate entity. Right? Every one of the states of are foreign entities. And don't so just say the state of Maryland, say the foreign corporate state of Maryland. And then if you feel like it, you can put in brackets after that, distinguished from Maryland State Republic, sanctioned by Article 4, Section 4. Or in contradistinction to. Do you understand? Yes. And even then, at that point, you've also denied them jurisdiction. Right. For the record, this is another reason why they don't want these papers.
You said they're a profiter, they're a beneficiary.
Say again? Always say profiter, beneficiary, etc., or you can add any other connective, profiting adjectives to that if you please to, but at least that. And so they can't convert the implication of you being the beneficiary incapable of operating the sister Q. Because you already know they created sister Qs. That's right. You know what I mean? So if you were calling them both the profiter and the beneficiary, keep in mind that with their claim of a government status, by operating in a government trust or position, they cannot operate for profit. And any claims they've moved on you for making any demands on you for financial gain is profit, and they become an ordinary corporation at all, having no governmental powers whatsoever. And that's all said just by the way that you structure saying that without even saying it. You know what I mean? Yes.
So it would be the profiter, beneficiary of that state?
Yeah. You'd say, I'll say, Chris Christie, profiter and beneficiary operating through the state of New Jersey foreign corporation, operating and doing business at North America, not in. You see? And so what it does, it totally changes their status and their claim and makes them a foreign entity to the Constitution, which they are anyway. But their communications with you are from the perspective, operative perspective, that they are sanctioned, delegated, Article 3, Section 2, etc., or any particular branch of government under legitimate delegation of authority. But keep in mind that once a prophet, anything that they do, it's sort of like the fundamental protocols which you know, like you might ask a judge or prosecutor, etc., or even a policeman, when they stop you, you can go through the standard protocol, probable cause, all the usual stuff. But you could also ask, are you operating in a governmental capacity or in a private for-profit capacity? You ask the judges that too when you go in. When they start talking about stuff, say, let me see, Judge, what's your name? State your name for the record, so I can hear you. And they'll usually won't say nothing, they'll point to that. There it is, right there, type thing. So, can you state that into the record? Right? And you say, let me see what it is. Judge Bosnortzel Dinky Dorf. All right, let me just spell it out. Take your time and spell it out. For the record, are you operating in a governmental capacity or in a private foreign for-profit capacity? State it for the record. And watch them get all tongue-tied. Now, if they call you, they're clearly operating in a governmental capacity, aren't they? But as soon as they start talking that finance and stuff like that, they're operating in a private capacity. Right. So they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't, aren't they? But you get it on the record. You see? So you start locking them down for present time and future time, because you can sue them at any time in the future just for what you just said without even going into the subject matter of the case. You know what I mean? So what we want to do is get in the habit of setting them up from the beginning, just as they're setting you up from the beginning. No matter what your outcome may be, they may just dismiss it, and that might be what you want for the moment, but don't think that because they dismiss something that you're satisfied, because you should be giving them a bill that should already be prepared before you came there anyway. Not a fee schedule. They'll give you a fee schedule. You give them an allodial cost schedule. Because they're operating under feudal law, you're operating under allodial law. And since they're infringing on your liberties, they're infringing in allodial areas. And so keep in mind, for every infringement, technically, they're suable for 1 million notes. That's for every violation. So you can do that, you can do it by the hour, the minute, how you feel. If you wanted to go see The Lion King, but you had to come there, so. And plus your girlfriend quit you because you didn't go see The Lion King because you were supposed to pay her. And you decide what that's worth to you. And it may not be there tomorrow, so you're really upset, do all that stuff. And decide what you want them to cost you, because you're not going to do too well when you go back. So you need to build with them. So you want to get in the habit of already preparing allodial contract bills for trespassing and your liberties for imposing a foreign jurisdiction on you, having to come under that threat, duress, and coercion to deal with this matter in the first place anyhow when they didn't have jurisdiction. So you name them and give them, an allodial cost schedule for every minute. And you put it in with your affidavits before you get there, a lot of times the prosecutor will come out and tell you, y'all leave, just take care of this prosecutor, because limit that. But you have that in the first place. Don't think about it later. You know what I mean? Start doing it as a standard protocol. And keep in mind, the existence of it creates a lien, whether or not you file it, just its existence. Now, if you decide future to monetize it, that's on you, but it's already a lien.
Did you say you asked the judge, is he working under a governmental platform?
Ask him specifically for the record. Is he operating under a governmental capacity or in his private for-profit capacity? And he can only be doing one or the other. And logically, since he says that he's a judge, he's operating in his governmental capacity. At that time, he can't be talking, he wants $5 from you. unless some jury of your own peers is sitting there, and they still can't do anything until you've gotten discovery. So even if they was there, they still can't operate, because if anything, this is a hearing for you to collect discovery, which would include logically his court warrant, wouldn't it?
That's right.
Huh?
Yes.
So they need $50 from you, might cost them $5,000 to do it. On the low end. So they decide, well, is this practical, or should I get one of these people who still think they're Negroes? So they're gonna pass you over and go get the Negroes.
That's right.
What's on?
That's all right. What about these grand jury hearings you never invited to?
That you never invited to, all you got to
The
do.
hearing is supposed to be
Huh?
invited, right? If it's
No,
a
I'm
hearing.
just, no. The same protocols, you can ask the same questions, right? Or you can, and keep in mind, any instrument or presentment that they present to you, by law, you can always attach affidavits to, or amendments. But, people don't think about that because that's not the frame of mind they're in. But you knowing fundamental law already know that, right? And so you can present to the court that everyone in the jury is confirmed with tangible nationality cards, and you can ask them what jurisdiction, under what jurisdiction the court is operating, right? Under what constitution of what nation it's operating. And you already know the U.S. democracy ain't got a constitution. The United States Republic does. So every entity and every entity operation under any particular government must be a creature of its constitution. Knowing that, that's why you ask these questions. And immediately, they don't want you on the jury because they already know you're going to exonerate the person. I wouldn't care if they choked Santa Claus's sister. Why? Because they're operating under color in the first place. And your questions would reveal that, so you don't have to argue with them, just mess up the instrument. And then, of course, you put your stamp on the instrument, non-negotiable, with your signature. So they can't take your signature and go into the sister community, even with that so-called jury thing, it's still your signature.
True.
So,
Yeah.
so that would be, what, constitution, what flag too, right?
You would say, what? See, because if you say constitution, you're automatically saying nation state.
Right.
So they must name the nation state. Right? And then, under the quo warranto, you would present that all so-called lawyers must produce for the record their license to practice law at North America under the jurisdiction of the United States in its adoption of the American Constitution. You understand? And so you've just locked them in or out. Because you already know they ain't going to have no jury there. You already know lawyers ain't got no licenses. And you already know they belong to the Communist Guild. And then you can introduce even the congressional records. Saying, apparently these guys are enemies to the state. No, they're not, they're lawyers. They're enemies to the state. See here the congressional record? Make that an evidence, Fred. Blas, Binkeldorf, oh, yeah, all right. You understand? In other words, just use your common sense, and you can beat them with their own stuff. You know what I mean? And just use it as a protocol. But above all, make the stuff public. Publicize the stuff. All your communications with them, meaning that if they send you a presentment today, you know, how is it that your stuff is not posted, and then within 3 or 4 days, some barristers are writing you talking about, oh, we can help you. They done blasted your name to other parties already. like you violated some law, and you ain't even wrote nothing about them, you be saying, well, see, the judge said, and you know, the prosecutor said, and I went to the clerk. Well, who are they? I don't know, but you know, the clerk, don't go there. You're talking all these titles and don't even know who you're dealing with. Your responsibility is to get the names of every last one of them and get their bond number collected, because that's conjuncted with their official oaths. That's a standard of protocol. So make the effort. You know, even doing inquiry, as we said before, and make it a database of all these people that are operating in particular territories that is your domicile, that they're operating in the jurisdictions of their particular entities, claiming a domestic jurisdiction. You see? Pardon me, knowing that they're two different entities. And so the way that you present your argument, even without arguing the subject matter itself, like it already creates a liability for them to even start litigating it. Particularly when you CC'd it to other departments outside of their venue, which makes the other partners party to file claims against them under violation of law, because then it makes them conspiratorial partners if they don't report them to the proper authorities, even if you didn't. You know, it's just like, you know, you walking down the street, you sitting in McDonald's, right? And somebody comes in there and start choking the guy next to you because he's the CEO of Wendy's, and you witnessed it and didn't say nothing. They charge you with conspiracy because you didn't say nothing, because you didn't call nobody. You sat there and you ate your McDonald's burgers while they were choking the CEO of Wendy's and didn't make an attempt to call the police or something like that. Then they be charging you with stuff. It's the same stuff. You know what I mean? So when you CC, they have a responsibility, you know. Eric Holden, a big chief man, huh? You know, Secretary of State and stuff. It's diversity, right? And they didn't tell somebody or go after them, then they're in dereliction of duty, aren't they?
Yes.
You see? And then also, when you have the CCs, they're not under the comfort of burying the information, which they have a tendency to do when you're just dealing with those individual entity departments, and this stuff is on fire. They ain't gonna let this stuff hit no floor. There's two things they're gonna do. They're gonna keep bouncing you around and frustrate you, make decisions that are not valid, and hope that you don't sue them. You understand? Or they're gonna dismiss it. They got nothing else to do but that. However, knowing that they're corrupt, and knowing that, you know, they're on the edge of the diving board and the pool ain't got no water, they're not inclined to jump necessarily.
Right. Push them.
You understand? So they're going to be trying to, you know, press you to the end. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're going to jump, I'm not going to jump. No, you're on the edge of the board. No, you jump. You know, stuff like that. No, because that's what they be doing, you know, then we be going, oh, all right.
Yeah, they just be trying you. They don't even, if you stand on your square, they leave you alone.
But be clear when who you are, but also be prepared and be willing to take the next step. Don't be letting them just sit on, you know, getting over talking big trash and feeling like they, you know, got over on you and they enrolled you even though they've dismissed it, and you ran back and forth with them for a few times and they gave them a bill? Not really. It's not system.
Even simple things.
Anything.
No, when I say simple things, like when we do simple things and we do CCC, do we have to CCC the international community or?
Now, what do you know that took place in 1933?
Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay.
So you got these imposters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretending to be government, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their seats have been transferred to the IMF, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right? And they're what? They're actually entities of the Popes of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to go to them for them to file something against themselves in their own department that don't damn exist. You understand what I'm saying? And then you can go through the motion because you're playing the game, but you're not supposed to really think it's real. You're doing it because you want it on the record. Because the record is damning.
Right.
You see? Because you're making the history now for the generations to come.
Yes.
As well as for yourself.
Yes.
Do you understand? Because when you put it to the pen, it takes on a life of its own. And they can counter it, they can act all they want to. You understand? They can even ignore it for the moment. If it exists, the liability remains. You know, and so a lot of times they'll treat you like you're not winning because they want to discourage you. But you won already. On what you call the spirit plane, the battle's already won. But it has to manifest on the physical plane. But this is a purification process, actually, to see who's really worthy. You understand? But they're really going to try to take most of you down with them. And so our reflections of our sincerity to this thing has a lot to do with the determination of those who are going to really receive the estate. Because most of us, having been living our lives in total dishonor of our mothers and fathers, aren't worthy of the earth. So what Mother Nature doesn't clean off, there's other methods that's going to be used to eliminate those who are in dishonor. Because this whole thing is about honor and dishonor anyway. Even under the colored venues. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because you know how the term says, oh, the meek will inherit the earth? Got to kind of understand what that really means on another level. You know, on another level, you know, this is our estate. But the reason we fell to servitude because we started following after the idol gods of Europe that we knew nothing of. Then messed ourselves up, and now we talking about freedoms while still over there in Rome's camp. You understand? Trying to serve two masters type thing, trying to have the benefit of the nation while not acknowledging the nation. Trying to argue the sovereignty of the nation while trying to stand in a status that don't belong to us. You understand? Trying to enforce some other code systems when your job is to enforce the Constitution and treaty, which is the supreme law. Then you allow them to make you take some inferior law or process to try to claim a sovereign right that only resides under this allodial principle, which means you don't really believe in the divinity of your law. Fine. Play with them. And you've been played. You know, I say, hey, bite this apple. This one's shiny. We just did this one in some of that red candy apple. Man, give me a bite, man. Shiny on the outside. Worms on the inside. Dang, man, that was supposed to be kind of like white inside or something like that. This stuff was look like Limburger cheese. Smell like it too. And this is the game that's played. Because we have to remember this. There's nothing here and no one here but us. And the whole politics of the world is between the ancient Moabite, Canaanites who are referred to as Africans, or the Oriental, original peoples, and the hybrid Occidental Europeans or Romans. That's all that's happening here. And anything else that you want to argue is a moot point because it ain't real. Right? And the deal is they've been trying to steal your birthright for generations, and that's what the process of the Inquisition operations and the Christian Crusades is all about. And that's the foundation of politics. And so if you think you want to argue your way out of this by not knowing those principles, you're only fooling yourself. And if you think those people who are ruling you or governing you aren't aware of this, you're, again, fooling yourself. You understand? Right here.
Islam, Todd. If in your process, if you do not demand dismissal, does the court at that point have no direction to give a remedy?
That's why a lot of times they ask you, what do you want? Or what do you want us to do? Right? Now, mentally, if you're still looking for them to make a decision without you directing them, No, because Susie can't go to college. Susie's a college payment. Right?
That's correct.
No, so the deal is knowing, and this is true, you know that this thing is about estate law, right? Knowing that, don't reflect that you don't know that. And so, if you're an heir to the estate, and you're starting to speak for yourself, i.e. presenting yourself, why would you talk with a voice that implies that you need someone to represent you? When being a free man, you're supposed to be capable of presenting yourself. And if you have a nationality, you're flying your colors. There's nothing abandoned here. What are you talking about? Therefore, speak accordingly. So trustee, so the judge, dang, watch stopped. Dang, man, SpongeBob comes on at 5 o'clock. What I want you to do, you're the trustee, what I want you to do is close this case out, close the account, give me $5,000 before I leave. For down payment for my time being here. Is that incorrect? Is it incorrect?
No, it's not incorrect.
Why?
Because you need to give.
Because you're speaking as an heir against the account, because the account is closed. The only account is your estate. And since he got you there,
Close
close the account. Because I'm the heir, I'm competent. You understand? You're the trustee, pay me.
That's his assignment.
Yeah, because he going to say that you didn't ask for it. So he going to, since he's still the trustee, he's going to say, well, abandon that, and so they cash it against your estate anyway. That's what those charges are. Right? So, since every time they rotate somebody through there, they're opening up, they're walking into the sister queue. They don't have to move. They're traveling without moving. And then you got the heir there, and you ain't acting like an heir, which means you're incompetent. Right? Which means, I still got amnesia. Oh, he sleeps, so they want, they just need your signature. They'll just open your eyes just a little bit and sign here. Because that's basically what they're doing. Then they go into sister queue, right, against your estate. That's how this thing operates. So if you keep thinking in your mind, recognizing that it's a state, right? All you got to do is look in the Constitution, right? It's public office, public trust. If there's a trust, there's an estate. And since government can't own property, who's it belong to? Heirs. Who's the heirs?
Yeah.
They certainly ain't black people. You see what I'm saying? They don't say black people do it.
No.
Huh? Are they bound to that? That's why such persons can't bring in constitutional law. They're not party to constitutional law. Why do you think the Klan was arguing that of the unnatural relationship between the Negro and the government? That argument is legitimate.
So the nulli pros still can go against the account.
Say it again.
Nulli pros can still be bounced against the account.
Yes.
Just for clarity. Okay.
Yes. And so what you're doing is starting to direct. If you're conscious that you have an estate, right? You start speaking up for yourself rather than letting them represent you, which makes you cardboard. And if you're cardboard, you're incompetent.
Right.
This is why you can't have a barrister represent you as a free man. And if you can't present yourself, you're incompetent. There's only two ways to go here. Right or wrong? And so this is why it's important that you declare your nationality, you're flying your colors, right? All of your stuff is entered into the court, flying your colors. They're flying their subordinated seals, whether they're state flag or their state seal, or even their corporate seals, right? So therefore, your flags is supposed to be flying up there with your seal, which trumps all of that stuff. You don't have to argue the common law is automatic. You don't have to argue diversity. Article 3, Section 2 is automatic. Now, if they trying to act like they don't know, you just say, just flying my colors. And you see that amity and commerce flag right there? Including that one you got them gold fringes around? Huh? Well, this red one here brings it back to the land. This ain't admiralty. Well, see, the Constitution is suspended in 33. Oh, what you mean, you fired yourself? Then what you doing sitting at that bench? Well, see, but if you're in a party to the Constitution, you can't vote it. Yes, I can. All what? Contracts and what? Agreements engaged into what? Before the adoption of this Constitution? Here's the American flag. That's a trading banner. What you thought I was confused? I know you got affairs in the closet. Close the doors, close the doors.
That's when they start saying one more word out, you're gonna hold me in contempt.
How can I be in contempt? You're in contempt. I'm standing on the law. You're standing in the middle of the ocean. And in breach of your oath. Oh, that's Exhibit 3.
Maybe you'll have me halfway home.
In your bond that you didn't reveal, which means you're racketeering. Oh, and I've already sent your name to Interpol. You didn't do that, did you? Yes, I did. You understand? You're supposed to do that anyway. Then after a while, they're still going to be talking trash. They're going to be acting arrogant. You understand? But believe me, they're going to try to settle this case. Because while they're pushing you, they're tightening up the noose on their own neck. They may be getting satisfaction at the moment messing with you, but they're just tightening the noose on their own neck. You understand? Because don't think that other nations don't want to choke them already.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No.
They just going quiet on us.
Huh?
They just going quiet on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't respond. You know, like they like trying to act like ain't nothing ever happened.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, I say, this stuff is so devastating. You know, they do the, put the shades on like they didn't see it. Well, it doesn't matter, the train's still on the track. And it's real. You know, because it's like this. They're either going to start dismantling this fraud, or it's going to collapse around them, and when it does, it's not only going to take them down, it's going to cost them a lot of lives.
Oh, yeah.
They ain't got to worry about us, they got to worry about middle-class Europeans that don't take oodles and noodles too good.
That's right.
And they can say all they want about us, but as we're doing right now, we're enforcing law. And they can call it all they want to. They can slander it, they can twist it, they can misrepresent it. We're the law, they're not. You understand? How you want to ask for quo warranto, he can't produce, and then he's going to say that you're not in the law. And he's required to produce quo warranto upon demand. Why? Because they're operating in a public office and a public trust. Their office is based on a trust. It ain't based on some authority outside of delegation. And upon request, it must be produced, or they must what? Dismiss the case. Ain't nothing for them to talk about, period. Unless you want them to talk about it. That's why you don't talk subject matter with them. You do quo warrantos or removals immediately. You understand? And then if you don't want to remove it, then you talk about, well, this is now, for the record, this is now consular court. You can't do that. Yes, I can. I just did it. You can't do that. That's contemptuous. No, you're in contempt. Diversity. See that? Where's yours? Well, the American flag, that's not American flag, it's an amity and commerce flag. Didn't you know that? Oh, you didn't know that, Fred? Why don't you ask George? See, when you know the history, you can blow them away. You understand? And you're supposed to do that. And, you know, you ain't got to go that far. But if they force you,
I want to lop off their heads.
You know,
Or you wanna do it?
you know what you do
I want
with
to lop off their
intelligence.
heads.
You do it with intelligence, and the greatest thing that you can do is teach somebody who doesn't know. That's, your greatest security is teaching somebody who doesn't know.
They've got their financial disclosures hidden.
Does it matter when it's no good?
No, it doesn't matter.
You know, it's like Canada having a problem now trying to trace down them thousand notes, bills that are missing out of circulation, but they're still binding against Canada. And so they're trying to figure out ways to get people to bring them out of hiding and stuff, because they're saying, well, they're using them in illegal activities or drug trade and everything. But then they can't neutralize them, because if they do, then all the rest of their so-called currency is no good.
Oh, okay.
So they're caught in a quandary, because you have, multi-millions of notes worth of $1,000, so-called $1,000 notes that are liable. And so people have been transacting business with them when they have to use bulk. They don't have to use a whole bunch of stacks of finance. The only one that has any problem is the last one handling whoever we want to cash it in, because then, so they can trace it back to try to find the rest of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? The real deal of it is that when it all boils down, the only thing that maintains any economic power for them is the faith and trust that people have in the notes that they have out there against the estate. But what they really don't want to ever come into play is the argument about the estate. Because at that time, all the fiat out there it's dead. So you're talking about their bills or their instruments of any type. When you, the heir, start speaking up, whatever they have hidden that's not built on the allodial side is dead paper. They can have it hidden under 50 vaults. It's only good as long as the blind faith exists. That's what gives it power.
So we don't even have to, trip about their private.
Which means you don't have to touch their instruments.
Their private side, their public side, don't make no difference, just this is what I'm telling you.
Exactly, because you're the heir.
I love that.
You understand? But what they must, for them to maintain power, they must convince you that you have to get through them to reach these instruments. When you can kill them without touching them. But our problem is that we don't believe that we have the authority. That's their safety valve. That we don't believe in us yet. Do you understand? What is the rule in estate law? When the heir awakens or steps up, matters not that he or she was not known to parties public or any parties that may have any instruments against whatever said estate. When the heir speaks up, the fofer or trustee must resign. Do you understand?
Yes.
The issue is we keep talking to them from the position of leaving them in position and asking them, well, I need an allowance. No, you're not getting an allowance. But I do, I need a car. Yeah, you keep the bike. But you got rolls, and you're incompetent. God, man. Well, if you understand that you're really the heir, you're taking the bike and I'm taking the rolls. You can't do that.
Watch.
You say it twice and you won't get the bike either. See, they're not expecting you to talk like that. And they know for all these generations that we've been in this subservient black mentality that we're not in the mind of recognizing our noble titles. We just say them. You know, I'm a Bey. Cool. Really cool, man. You know, but they already know we don't understand those titles yet. You know, we say sovereignty while not really understanding because we're not in that frame of mind that goes with the titles. And it's not good, it's good that we're modest. Not necessarily good that we're out to lunch about it, but it's good if we're modest with it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But understand that when you start speaking up by law, not just by the principle of law, but around the world, them trustees got to start stepping off. This is why you see Hillary and them making their speeches with the Moorish flags in the background, because of the heat that's on them around the world. They're not sitting here coming on TV and telling these people why they're doing that. They're not undoing this last trail of mandate they have. But they got to express that to the rest of the world so it don't look like they're doing human trafficking. Why? Because these Moorish documents been going to China, Siam, Morocco, Cuba, Organization of American States. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, yes.
So even though it's not what you call surface political discourse, they're shaking in the background, but they cannot afford to show that they are.
Right.
They've got to keep us in our inferior mentality, or convinced that we can't get anything through them except we go through the UCCs as the folks have laid it out, or something like that. And not that these things don't work to some degree of, you know, loosening the reins a little bit, but that ain't the sovereign power. Sovereign power is a nationality. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And see, and even when you see them issuing different systems that acknowledges some appearances of some sovereign right or exercising of right, it is only because they're pressed to the corner that the people are finally understanding what Noble Drawley did and are actually beginning in these just later years to really exercise what he really brought. Outside of worshiping him.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
And so it's having its effect socially and politically. You see? And so even though you or I may not be approaching this information with a solid comprehension of its power and effect, as soon as you start making public your activities in your Moorish nationality and start signing your name with the noble title, them papers, wherever they are, if they're in Greece, Portugal, Spain, Bosnopsostan, the dark side of the moon, start curling up. They're dead. It doesn't matter. They got them locked away. It's, you know, it's sort of like somebody having locked away in an old safe in Utah, buried in a mine that you know, a closed coal mine that nobody goes in anymore. You know, 2,000 stock certificates on 1829 sewing machines. And like, you gonna cash them in. You can have more, so they're good collection items. But for the most part, worthless. It's like finding an old Cheerios cereal box in this old abandoned house from 1955, and it's got real Confederate money in it, and you go into the mall. Go ahead.
I found that one.
Yeah. So it is with their instruments that they got hidden. When the heirs begin to speak up, they can bury it in the deepest of minds. When the faith and trust in them is dead, the instrument is dead. When you stop giving your golden signature to it, or if you do give a signature, you say non-negotiable, they can't walk into the sister queue, so it's there. What you need to capture it for, they ain't gonna give it to you anyway. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
So, and I'm not saying don't go through the motion. You know what I mean? Because a lot of exercises that we do are good learning experiences. You know what I mean? But your denial of their stewardship of your estate is in law good enough to kill any instrument they have leaned against your estate. And anything they do is only colored, which means they can maintain a colorable position, but it's sort of like them talking to you now. And untie your shoes and all this other stuff and, you know, put you all up against the wall. Meanwhile, all the instruments out there is dying anyway. So, I mean, it's like, it's a moot point of arrogance. Because their effect with you in the moment is only what you call temporal satisfaction for them exercising authority that don't belong to them, because the rest of the civilized world, once they see these activities taking place, any T-bonds that belong to them in any treasury, if they don't sell it to some dummy and get rid of it as fast as they can, it's no good anyway. I don't care how many numbers it has on it. Well, this one is worth 5 million. This one is worth 250,000. It doesn't matter what's on the numbers on it. Make all zeros. Now, you know, and I know they're not going to suddenly tell you that. And they're going to trade them on the stock market as long as some dummy is willing to trade with them. You understand? Until the musical chairs run out. And that's what's happening right now. You see? This is why you see European countries not opening up any new American accounts, as they say. And trying to close the ones that are there. You know what I mean? So the middle and upper class, so-called wealthy Europeans who are nationalizing at a rate of about 160 a week and denouncing their U.S. citizenship, and then trying to take their assets to whatever country, state, nation state, and trying to liquidate it. Can't do it. And then anything that's there is becoming dead paper, and so now it's a liability. And anybody in treaty with the U.S., even in the European Union, you understand the IRS is going after them. After all, they are all partners to the Treaty of Verona. And so it's not to their advantage anymore to launder money for these so-called European wealthies. So they're in a quandrum, aren't they? And that's really what's happening, but they're not necessarily discussing that on the headline news, are they? But anybody knows world politics knows that. You see what I'm saying to you? But meanwhile, and I don't reject the principle or the principle of thought. I understand the pressure that we're under, you know, because they're still oppressing us, even while we are standing true to principle of law. De jure, they're still exercising their de facto. That's because they have nothing else to operate. You understand what I'm saying to you? And so that's not to be confused with thinking from ourselves that we're failing. It's that's them on, you know, politically on their deathbed.
Come on, Brother Todd. Is that also why parties with corporations, the IRS is asking for shareholder information and so forth?
Yes, and they have a right to, because they all have been what? Hypothecated to the popes anyway. And the CEOs know that, even if the so-called lower managers aren't aware. It matters not. They're all Pope's property under the secret Treaty of Rome. People's belief about it, or non-belief about it, or knowledge of it, or lack of knowledge, does not matter. When it comes push to shove, they're all wards. And what we're going to do, we're going to secede. All right. They're laughing because they ain't going to do crap. Yes, we are. They are. Yes, we are. They not. They just ain't saying no, you're not. But no, you're not. See? And this is back to really knowing history and knowing law. Once they became the state of New Jersey, the state of Delaware, they're all franchises of Washington, D.C. Corporation.
If they want to.
So what sovereign authority do they operate with? They don't have any sovereign authority. You know, and this is back to the misconception that we have that they are legitimate. Even them starting to actually believe they're legitimate. Now, of course, if they're going to talk about seceding with any, or exercising any sovereign right or power, then that would only be in Article 4, Section 4, right? So Article 4, Section 4, the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. Is the state of Maryland a republic?
No.
No.
Is the state of New Jersey a republic?
No.
State of Pennsylvania a republic?
No.
State of New York a republic? Any of them cronies a republic?
No.
They are private foreign corporations under the auspices of the Secret Treaty of Verona in agreement with Skull and Bones member Franklin Delano Roosevelt, abrogating the gold clause, and then Woodrow Wilson meeting with the representatives of the Popes of Rome off Jekyll Island, where they thought they were just going to do that and steal our birthright. It's sort of like, with their thievery, they just set up and tricked themselves. And us, believing in them, are starting to believe that they really have the power that they're boasting about that they really don't even have, except our unconsciousness and continuously abandoning our birthright by not exercising it. You see what I'm saying? However, knowing the imbalance, it's fine because, but we need to understand what we're looking at. And so we need to, what? Encourage our people, staying in a common sense mode, understanding the distinction between the legitimate de jure constitutional government principles versus the democracy system of the Popes of Rome under the war powers of 1933 and the Banking Act, etc., Federal Reserve, etc., and understanding that they're operating under a feudal system and your claims are made under a lodial system. But you cannot be in the status under that feudal system and make rights of estate claim under allodial principles without your nationality. It's not complex, but it's important to understand that relationship without having to discuss it. You understand? And when you understand those principles, you understand why Noble Raleigh say, if you don't do anything else, declare your nationality. Why? Because ultimately that's the only way you can claim the estate. And you know, we can bounce through all kinds of stuff, all kinds of processes, and it's all cool with exercise. When this thing collapses, it is as simple as if you're an heir to the estate. And a birthright, does a birthright require some application?
No.
It requires only the claim and proof of identity. What's your nationality?
Moorish America,
Where's the parameters of your estate?
North, South, Central America, joining islands.
Now, see when you started stuttering, and it's fine. All you got to do is fix it, right? Because you already know. So get clear on it, because you already know.
The 7 seas and 7 continents.
Not just that, you would say what?
North,
But North,
South, and Central America.
North what? What would you say?
North America.
North America, Northwest.
Quran, chapter 47. Yes, yes, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. But geographically, you would say what?
North, south, central America.
Read chapter 47. What do you mean? You got Holy Grand, you got circle 7. You know circle 7? Yes, you do. Oh, not only. All right. We got circle 7. All right, circle 7, chapter 47.
Egypt, capital empire of the dominion of Africa.
Yes.
Say a little louder.
Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa.
All right, where did Obama go last year?
Egypt,
All right, where did his wife go?
Alhambra,
What's the Alhambra?
last one,
All right, where's it located?
Spain,
Yes, Andalusia, that's Spain, yeah. All right, what did he do when they came back to North America?
Signed the right.
that's the indigenous people.
All right, so what signal does it send?
Wake it up now.
Time for the heirs to claim the estate. All right, now, continue to read chapter 47.
The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanite from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Land joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. With their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brothers who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes.
Read on.
The dominion and habitation extended from northeast.
Here's your geographical parameters. Read it.
The dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean.
So there is the parameters. So that means you should know, in general, the geographical parameters of the present Moroccan Empire, which includes North, Central, and South America, right? Right?
Yes.
So this is why you see Hillary and Obama and his wife conveniently, recently, always getting pictures taken with the Moroccan flag behind them, because it's the true American flag. Why? Because the world's governments, economies are collapsing, who got these instruments from Wall Street, who's got these liens against the Moroccan estate. And the world is turning against them, and the Moors are waking up. How can you tell? Because they're writing instruments and putting them out there, which technically, without even saying so, you're firing them. And they're trying to say this is their job. In other words, they're fired and they're trying to maintain the job. They're holding offices that they're fired from.
They fired themselves.
They fired, they still coming to
They
work.
fired themselves, but by us being incompetent, by us continuing to be incompetent, continuing to be black and people of color, it gave them mandate under what? Private law trusteeship. So even though they weren't legitimate government, they were legitimate trustees under forfeitureship of our estate because we weren't claiming the estate. Do you understand?
Yes.
This is where The Special Committee of 24 for decolonization and nationalization processes are supposed to be operatively, incrementally be instituted for the decolonization of all colonial governments, i.e. you're supposed to have been being taught government at the same time. But at the same time, instead, they got these Negro preachers got you marching around for civil rights, which put you under the 14th Amendment instead of nationalizing it. Right. Which makes this happen. The decolonization process, while taking place, we're back here when we should be up here. So we're the heirs that are supposed to be prepared to take our places within the seats of government, and we're incompetent. Not by virtue of the instrumentation or the recognition by the nations of the earth being absent, it is absolutely there. The organizations and institutions within our communities have negated their responsibilities. This is aside from the fact of the Moorish Science Temple being infiltrated and them not doing their job when they are supposed to be at the front line. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So what's happening, we're out of sequence. But the world is moving on in spite of it. And so what's happening, if we don't get our people catching up, they will be a social, political liability. And by virtue of world economics and politics, some of them are going to have to disappear. Yes. Which means they're going to use vaporization techniques. They're not going to worry about the bones like they did in World War II with other people claiming to be something that they really are not. That's right. If these people aren't willing to declare their nationality, they're not going to be taken up to space. If what nature don't do, King Alfred will take care of the rest. Islam sister was going to make a statement or ask the question?
Yes, I was. I was going to make a statement and ask the question. I guess more ask the question. Or they have these concentration camps, I think, that
yes.
they're places, and
all your prisons, and particularly most the women's prisons and your so-called closed military camps, etc., or military bases. All concentration camps.
And that's where they're gonna put the sleeping people and gas them on them?
Yeah, what they don't stick with viruses.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
and of course they will get most of the children in school with the inoculations.
That's right.
Yeah. But you know, it's the fact that their population will be reduced, it will be. Now,
I have a second part of that because my concern is how do we help save our babies?
It's like this.
Keep them.
That's common sense is this. Can you save the baby if you don't save the mother?
No.
So then we should be saying, how are we going to save the mothers?
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, even the way we look at things is wrong. Our whole concept of how we look at everything is wrong. And we need to change our whole frame of thinking. You know what I mean? And this is also why like you see Drawley have the woman on the cover of the questionnaire, and she's unconscious. But yet humanity is written on her womb, isn't it? And then after this, we ask that same question. You see the whole point? How do we say what? There it is right there. I say the pictures tell 1,000 words. You know, and it's not that he didn't give us the cure, it's that we didn't believe it. You know, collectively. It's just that things are falling apart now, and so people are paying attention to stuff that they were given 100 years ago. Why? Because everything he says is proven to be true. Meaning what people believe that he said or didn't say is irrelevant. It's manifesting. So we can play coy all we want to, and the world's going to pass us by, or we can get busy and try to save ourselves. This is also why he said, if I could just get you all thinking again, you save yourselves. You know, but again, it's up to us. You know, but meanwhile, the world is not going to feel sorry for us because we're the direct descendants of the wealthiest people on the planet. And if we disrespected that, why should they feel sorry for us? You know, if we're descendants of the ancient Moabites and we want to be black, want to be something that we're not, but yet we want the benefit of civilization. Please, come on. You know, like others going to come here from Africa or somewhere and feel sorry for us? No, they're going to stop at the hardware store, get a thick piece of plexiglass and make a living off us like everybody else.
Right. Thick piece.
Why should they? They don't come around here talking about they light skinned young guys and stuff like that and think human beings are crayons. We're the only ones that do that distant stuff. And then expect the civilized world to respect us. We do that. And just because the European promoted it, don't make ignorance of the law excusable, does it?
No, it doesn't. Yes, sir, you're right.
And if we always telling you about what God and Allah and Jesus and Muhammad's going to do next week on Thursday at 5 o'clock and all that stuff, then we should know ourselves. You know, so why should somebody feel sorry for us? Because we're arrogant. Aren't we arrogant?
Yes, we are, very much.
Don't know, you can't tell us nothing. You know, this is our stuff, and we suffering in our own land. You know what I mean? We trying to go someplace else, everybody else trying to get here. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's on us. You know, so, and it's back to the principle, yeah, we're catching it, yeah, they've been taking advantage of it, but we're kind of equally guilty. You know what I mean? And that's just simply the truth. Whether we like it or not is, you know, we can sit around and feel sorry for ourselves or we can get busy. That's it. Just get busy. You know what I mean? What you guys, you gonna tell me something?
I got one.
I don't have to see them. Mick may have, Mick,
Yes, sir.
you got your seals?
I definitely did not bring them.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
There it is.
Black and Nobles.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
There's no time.
Anything new over there?
Need some shoe machine. Mick, you got some shoe machine
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
in the car?
Yes, sir.
How far you live? Huh? Chester? Chester, you might be too relaxed when you use the Chester.
Oh,
You got some shoe machine?
she got some 151 vodka. Just give her a glass cup and a strike
Yeah,
match.
she's talking about that.
You're a lamp, man. What you talking about, right? That stuff in the lamp.
She can put it in the motor and it's good.
There you go.
Just put it in the engine. You want something? You want the bottle? Or
No, give her none.
Oh, all right. It's funny you ask because I do got some.
What's it? You got
Some solution. You never had it?
what? Yeah, that's good.
Mushu.
It's a sister root
Probably from,
and it's fermented. And it's good blood cleanser, it's nerve healing, it's relaxing.
I used to live on that.
And so, you need a little bit, but like if you're
Okay. I owe you some money, sister.
It's a good
But you owe me something too. 234
It's more damaging because it's herbs. You understand what I'm saying?
Is that good? Is that hot?
You're stressed, you're tired.
I mean, where you banging it out,
If
man?
you can rest a shorter time and get more from the rest.
I can only get it on every other, every first and third Friday, right? If I can.
But that,
So if I take ginseng root, ginseng, stuff like that, polygonum, true shit, it's the sister root.
Well, come out here when y'all put it together.
Anyway, any questions?
Guys, you gotta help me out, because, I know it's supposed to be about love and everything, and I got a little problem.
About what?
Dealing with brothers who are sons of God.
Okay, let's close out the class first.
Oh, I want Sister Nyla, because she did
Yeah,
give
well,
us
let's
on her
close out
phone.
the class.
I know she's tired, but they wearing her out.
We gotta close up the class.
Yeah, well, we're gonna,
It's very afraid to start walking and stuff, and that comes out the class. But there is one thing for the people, not just, it's personal. You didn't mention, some people who, are, because I'm listening to everything you're saying, some people are stepping out, you know, trying to write to different places and stuff like that. Okay, can we have you, we're gonna close the class out, because
yeah.
it's time to go home. But one thing, I think I'm on now, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me now? It doesn't matter, I don't care. We needed to address those people who start writing to different places, as you mentioned earlier, but they're not quite ready, and you're talking about how they're messing with us anyway, as you just explained how they'll mess with you, right? So then, if someone goes out and starts putting out information, sometimes they will actually, because this is what we see happening, actually attack that person directly and work it and work it and work it because they know they don't know what they're talking about.
To intimidate.
And they're trying to do that to intimidate everyone else,
It's not good.
especially one who, you know, they're doing that to intimidate everyone else. So it's important, I think, that people study a little longer before they start.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Well,
important.
This is what's important, basically, yes. And it's back to what we say to you very often, is to understand that these activities are real government. These activities are real government. And you have to understand, like we said to you before, because this information is given usually in a casual setting like this,
Yes.
in an humble setting, people have a tendency to underestimate it. Do you understand? But understand this is the fundamentals of the government of the world, and particularly the changeover of the guards of what has been going on for hundreds of years. Are we clear? And so when people get this information, they're looking at this information both for its historical and law value, but usually on the surface without comprehending how many other institutions it affects. Do you understand? For instance, as an example, say some of the dispensations that you would get literally makes a lot of established institutions moot. Do you understand? Meaning, like Noble Drawley says, this is no secret organization. I'll pull the cover off of all secret organizations, which means a short period in these degrees makes other institutions dead. They're just existing and charging people finances, and they ain't even giving you the degrees that you get here for nothing. Do you understand? So they're useless. It includes the preachers. This includes fake grand sheiks that have been half-stepping with this information, different levels of Masonic orders. Do you understand? And it's given to you freely. And it's not riddled. And it's your birthright. And you're not bound to somebody. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Yes. And you're the heirs of the wealthiest people on the planet. And the governments on the earth have been running because they've been having free range with your estate that you didn't know you had. And so whereas we're looking at just trying to be able to ride our bicycle freely, this thing is much bigger than that. Right. Even though we're not asking for more. Right. If you understand, we're not really necessarily seeking for more. The very fact of who we really are commands more. Mm-hmm. Even if we require no more. Right. You understand? Yes. So whereas we're trying to, you know, get in the movie to see a flick that we wanted to see, that we couldn't see before, we're not even thinking that we own the whole movie and the land the movie's sitting on, right. And even all the production materials and all the rest of the stuff, and even all the other people that thought they was the executive, they're really only profit stars. Right. And we can't phantom that exactly. But they know that. Mm-hmm. So their fears relative to your activities are great as opposed to yours, mine. We're thinking, you know, you just want to live in peace. You want to be able, you know, get some food and feed your children and go home and have a job, not even knowing that you don't really even need a job. But it's good that you are working.
A man need to work.
Huh?
Work at his sanity.
In other words, the whole point of it is, but the European is aware of these things, and he was aware of them all the time. His greatest fear was that you ever found this out. Do you understand?
Yes.
The other part is, as you are finding this out, don't take it lightly and don't start stepping out there wanting to box with Goliath without training. Because he's going to punch you in your nose. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Do all kinds of things from you. You know, he's just, by law, basically, you know, they be trying to do this, ain't supposed to take your life. But they'll take everything from you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because this is what it represents. As you begin to exercise these rights, everything that he has leaves. So they're not going to like give up to, you know, almost like they see death in the face. However, as things move on, people who have worked for them, and even some amongst themselves, particularly the upper middle class, are going to start telling truths about the system to try to save their pieces of the estate that also don't belong to them either. You know, so this is where you see the so-called freedom groups, the European sovereignty groups, making their arguments about the republic. They want the republic back now. Oh no, but they've been working this all the time to steal our rights. Right. This is why when they institutionalized slavery in North America, they shut down all Republican forms of government in the southern states because of its relationship to us. You see? Now they want the republic back, but they're not the sovereign. You see, we are. It's just that our people are not what you would call intellectually competent at this time to really take their places amongst affairs of men. So keep this in mind, so study. One of the things, Brother Sexton, the other deal is pay attention to the details that are listed in the rights of indigenous people and your right to exercise, determine your own social and political status of the state. So that means that you're supposed to be operating with the foundation of and notations of majlis, or what you call congressional meetings, whereas you're dealing with your matters, including, you know, when you're dispensing papers to them, flying your colors, that's still in itself a majlis, or what you call exercising plebiscite. And so whereas they're voting, the electoral college votes for them because they're really property. But when you start speaking up, as you're doing now, you're actually invoking a plebiscite, which is superior, and it doesn't need a voting period date for that. Right. Your activity is a plebiscite. Being conscious of that, exercise and study so that when you do things and you start issuing stuff that they're in their nature and character correct. You see what I'm saying? And so when you see them resisting or suffering to intimidate, understand they're trying to save Susie's college or, you know, the house that they think is theirs. That's what they're operating from, not from law. From the fact that they're in the seats of power and the illusion of them being legitimately the power is what they're operating off of. But the more you understand that they're not, and the more you talk like they're not, the less power they have. Okay. Because everything that they move is based on faith and trust. Do you understand? And your weakness in the mind reflects on how governments deal with any instrument issued from the stock markets of Wall Street. And as you start demonstrating no confidence in their government, but yet speaking with confidence of self, not with arrogance, but with the knowledge of both your history and the law, the pendulum swings. Do you understand?
Yes.
And when you start demonstrating that you are actually competent, then you can start taking care of your own business.
Okay.
And which you will do, which you're starting to do now. Therefore, study. And it's not unlike, like when we're talking, sometimes when you see us going through different things, and I'll say, go read your book, and then you read the book, and say a sister or somebody over here, and they might say something or ask a question, I say, go ahead in your law book. And then it becomes your own, and then you realize what it is, not because I or someone else says so, because now you know. That's the change that becomes dangerous to them. Do you understand what I'm saying? That you're not necessarily asking, but that you comprehend. You see? Now that thing right there, now you're going to go on the site and you're going to get a ticket dismissed. And study it. Also, that averment of jurisdiction too. That quo warranto. Averment. Avert, it looks like avert, meant averment. The T is not pronounced. Averment of jurisdiction would be included in the quo warranto, including all surety bonds, etc. So what you want to do, you want to get, how old is that? Today, all right. Now, what you want to do, you want to get a copy of that. All right, and then you want to write across it, refuse for fraud, for inducement, etc. Yeah. But don't do anything until you study. Go on the website and look at stuff.
What I do with you suppose?
She can. I don't want her to do anything that she can't stand up for right now, because we're not going to go babysit for her.
Thank you, because I don't want to be babysitting, but I don't want to pay this thing.
Good. So I'll tell you, go on the site. So you study jurisdiction, ticket dismissed, right? Huh? Right? Yeah, so you can refuse fraud and inducement to fraud. You know, there are no pleas. Yes, on the back, no pleas, yes. No pleas. And then when the ticket dismissed, send it together. But you do that in red ink. So like in a marker or something like that. Like a marker, a fine point marker. All right, school with us. All right? But do the ticket dismissal. And then you take the ticket dismissal, you want to put, you see on the part where it would have the entity, right? And then make sure you put a person's name before the entity. But you would even include that policeman, the plainsman officer, and then, you know, the township, whoever, the mayor of the township, and blah, 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 and operating through.
The mayor is supposed to put him in.
Oh, of course. You say such and such a person, profiter and beneficiary operating through the foreign entity styled as City of Wilmington or State of Baltimore, I mean State of Maryland, whatever. You know, whatever entity, always put a natural name before it, and then, of course, the quo warranto for the so-called judges and whatnot, and then dismiss it. Send it back, refuse for cause. Sister Nyla, I know she's tired, but you gotta reward us with something tonight.
I'm just gonna give an announcement. How's that?
Yes. Brothers and sisters, Dr. Nyla Gilliam, let's give her a hand. Of course, she thinks she's going to get away with not reading us a poem.
I'll give you a hand to Brother Taj. Brother Taj, couple announcements. Just want to let you know that on next Friday, the day after the day they give thanks, we're having a open mic here at House of Ram. It's $5. It's a fundraiser. We're trying to fix the wall downstairs, and I thank you for always supporting the building fund. We really are fixing the wall. We have a wall issue. We have to, you know, get money. Yeah, we have a leak. Really bad leak. So anyway, we're having a fundraiser here on next Friday, the 23rd. Yeah, 23rd, from 7 to 10. It's open mic, so you sit and dance, you know, play the read poetry, spoken word, or if you just want to come and hear and see people sing, dance, read poetry, and whatever they do, please come out and support us on that on next Friday. But and I know Brother he's going to give an announcement, but if he has something that's more recent, I mean that's coming up sooner. But also on the first Saturday, in December, because we won't see you until after that, because it turns out that the first Friday of December is actually like the 8th or something like that. 7th. So on the 1st, we'll have a indoor flea market here. We have a lot. We did it about a couple weeks ago. We were successful in raising a couple $100. And we're hoping this time we're going to put in the newspaper that we could do more. We have a lot of stuff from multi-families that they've donated to House of Rams so that we can raise funds to fix the wall. So hopefully you'll be able to, see Islam. I didn't see you. But anyway, if you could, keep that in your memory bank and come out and support us. Or I probably, if you got a flyer, if you got an email from me, I try to list everything that was going on the email. So that's going on. Also, my book is moving right along, and I'm still asking those of you who have heard anything that sounded like anything worth anything to you, that if you would like to give me a quote for my book, I absolutely positively need it before we convene again. The reason why is because it's going to be published the first week in January, and I have a publisher and so forth, and I'm really past the deadline. So, I mean, I know some of you said you would give me something, but you haven't. But I still love you. Don't be mad when you see other people's names in the book. Like, my name could have been in there. Could have been. Yeah. It could have been. I'm really grateful to Brother Taj who wrote the foreword to the book and rewrote it again and made it longer.
No, I gave you the original that I didn't.
Okay.
Back.
But also in my book, my publisher asked me to include a quote, an excerpt. It's an excerpt from my next book, and I wanted to share that, if that's okay. My next book, after the poetry book, is actually not a book of poetry. It's a book of fiction, I guess, nonfiction, and it's called Ramifications. Wonder why? This is the house of Ram, and it's called Ramifications. And the first the introduction is called Waking Up is Hard to Do. And anyway, it's still in its draft stages, but because we have to put something in the book right now, this is what she's getting. But it says, you don't know exactly how long you've been asleep, but you know you woke up. No, you hadn't fallen asleep the night before and gotten up the next morning with a fuzzy head. The truth is, as is the case with just about everyone else on the planet, you were born awake, but became systematically anesthetized into a twilight sleep when you're both asleep and awake at the same time and oblivious to the pain, the pressure, and the manipulation of outside forces. Sometimes, like a woman injected with drugs that block out the pain of labor and childbirth, somewhat like, rather, a woman injected with drugs that block out the pain and labor of childbirth and the associated memory along with it. Women, we know about that. We get these shots when we have babies, and you don't feel the pain, and you forget how much it hurt, because if you remember how much it hurt, it would kill, never mind. But that's what I'm talking about. Life had become your drug, and your addiction to it caused you to forget your original assignment. In the course of time, even as you verbally and outwardly rejected the status quo, you unconsciously embraced it and everything that went along with it. You discovered, however, in hindsight, that the basis for most of your hopes, your dreams, and desires stem from manufactured and subliminal ideas that in reality were little more than puffs of smoke dissipated into thin air. You had made a lot of ruckus, but to the point of your reawakening, you had left very little behind as a testament to having been there. But that was before you woke up and began to face the ramifications of becoming conscious in an unconscious world. This is the story of the soul's journey back to its genesis. This is a search for the soul's beginning in order to embrace and reconfirm its purpose and future. Perhaps along the way, you will do the same. Ramifications, Reawakening Minds is about truth, discovery, empowerment, and spirituality rediscovered and redefined in the converging Aquarian age of enlightenment. I get that. As the universe transitions and shifts from the illusionary Piscean age fraught with deception and cover-up, people all over the planet are reawakening and seeking truth about the often conflicting, mystical, mythological, and dogmatic explanations of yesterday. There is a widespread knowing in the collective consciousness as if to regain memory after a long bout with amnesia, rediscovering the spiritual self and the soul's forgotten mission and purpose. It is about ascending and transitioning into higher conscious awareness of one's own selfness and divinity, not by earthly permission, but by divine cosmic birthright. Ramifications will cause you to think and think again. So that's my little intro to my... But basically, the book is going to be about the conscious reawakening, the movement, my own journey, and the journey of some of the people that I interact with that, you know, that are sharing with me how it is for them in this, it's a lonely journey, but it's a very, very fascinating one.
And a lot of people can relate to it all over the world, you know.
Right, and because it's such a universal occurrence, you know, I think it's time for this. But with that, on that note, I have about 30, I counted over there, it's not all that I've done, but I have 37 different titles over there on the table. But the most recent tape I did, is it this past Sunday?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. But, oh, it was called, was it this past Sunday? The 11th hour, what was the Sunday? The 11th hour. It was actually on 11/11. On 11/11 I did this.
I don't have one.
No, yeah, you don't have this. The 11th hour, and I was really dealing with the phenomenon. If anybody is seeing number patterns over and over, you know, certain number patterns, well, that's what I was dealing with. And then as I was doing this message, I realized it actually was November 11th. And the fact that the 2012, December 21st, 2012 date that they talk about with the Mayan calendar, ironically, it comes out to be 11.
Oh.
Yeah, when you break it down numerologically. So, okay, so anyway, the 11th hour, I think the fluidity of reality was probably what I did the week before. Some of you got that. The conscious alchemist, these are the most recent four. And I really, I think the end of the age of deception is probably a pretty good tape. Because I talk about all the different dispensations. Brother Taj, did you hear that one? I think you got that.
Yeah,
but I talk about the dispensations, the various ages, so-called ages that we've been in, you know, with the various astrological signs.
Yeah.
So I got 37 titles over there. It's $5 for CDs and $10 for DVDs, and anything that you purchase goes to help the House of Land. So thank you for your support, and that's all I had.
Announcement.
Now, okay, that's what we're going to announce. All right.
It's not brothers and sisters. We have pheasants, Black Law Dictionaries, 4th edition.
Revised.
Can you come up here, sis, please?
Revised.
Yeah.
So we can hear you.
Y'all can hear me. Can't y'all hear me?
Now increasing. All right. Islam, you all.
My husband and I here are selling Black Law Dictionaries, 4th edition, revised. Pheasants. We have lapel pins. We have the flags on the little stand. And we have the rain covers for the pheasants. See you tonight, okay? And we're right here. All right?
Can you show them? So people can see that? Listen. Imagination. Imagine what that looks like. Imagine what that looks like. Imagine what this looks like.
and if y'all can see this.
Thank you for writing your.
How much are the lapel pins?
How much are flags?
And how much is the flag?
Now can you repeat yourself?
Then I could be like Taj. He's the cap.
You got some pins now?
Yeah.
You got the straight up Moroccan pins?
Not.
Okay.
Oh, so y'all do have this full of the
No, you need that one for your environment, that's safer for you.
Oh, can you announce it?
Bring them next time.
Which black subject tomorrow?
So they do that.
Yeah.
Okay, can I wait? So you can wait. Just be one night. How you doing?
You do them both. It's mine, y'all.
The rain covers for the census are
Rain covers from the fast.
$6.75. And we had the bell pins are $5.50. And the stick bag set is $10. Okay.
No, you don't.
All right, see that? All right. Oh, you need the fast.
And the feds is for $50.
All right?
And of course, we have different sizes.
All right, whatever size you want, whatever size you need, just give them the size, right? And also keep up with your law.
No, I can wait, I just.
Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition.
$50.
All right,
Goodbye.
all right. And so next week, we come up with one of these up here.
Previous one.
Yeah, all right.
Previous from